Welcome, everyone, to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. This is a live streaming video podcast by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans, including those that get things confused. But today, we're going to be continuing our episodic review of Star Wars Andor with Season 2, Episode 10, Make It Stop.
Yeah, we totally talked about most of this episode last episode.
Yep, this is what happens when you watch episodes back to back.
Yeah.
I even have notes on my phone that I, of course, forgot to send off my phone and put it in front of my face, making note of where to stop because it's very easy to mix these two together.
Totally is.
Yeah.
So this is one BBY. This is 1 year before the Battle of Yavin, which is so close. Like, we're actively having Luke whining about Tashi Station and picking up some power converters as this shit is happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, so we already talked about Luthen meeting Lonnie and her learning about the Death Star and all that sort of stuff, so we won't get into that. And we're not going to get into the Daedra meeting Luthen and the whole seppuku, because we already talked about that. But we do have some stuff to talk about because there's a lot of flashbacks in this sequence that I think are interesting, if not derivative of aliens. Did you get that vibe?
No, but now I see it.
Kalea and Luthen in the spaceship. The whole time I was just like, I wish Sigourney Weaver was in this. I couldn't not think about aliens.
Yeah,
that whole scene.
I legit didn't even think about it until you said that, and yeah, I can totally see that.
It was pretty awesome. So Luthen is on this world, part of the Imperial forces, subjugating some culture. Like, that's just what they do. That's, like a weekend for them. Rather than going and playing pool, they go and subjugate species. So they're in the middle of that, and he is just having a breakdown. Like, make it stop, I can't deal with this. And then he hears, like, rummaging, and he goes to investigate, and he sees a little kid. And instead of shooting her in the face like any good Imperial would do, he's like, shh, I'll figure something out. Like, he's like, simmer down. Everything's going to be okay. Do you think at that point he was conscious of what he wanted to do, or was his involvement with the rebellion a reaction that he had to her insistence on some sort of justice?
So that's a tough one. Like, I think it's a mixture of her experience of the genocide of her people, coupled with him being an arbiter of the genocide. Like, I think because he was having that breakdown, it wasn't that far off from him just going AWOL and ultimately swapping sides. But I think she was probably the biggest catalyst of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if it wasn't for her, he would have just put up with it for a little longer. Maybe he just would have, like, shot himself because he was clearly out of his mind unhappy. I mean, he was losing it. But it did very much seem to me watching it, as soon as he saw her, his mind started working like, okay, I've got to get her off this planet. Like, it's no longer me just make a stop and I'm shutting down and just sort of dealing with this. Now I have a reason to do what I've always wanted to do in the first place, and that's resist what it is that I've sort of been, I don't want to say was born into it, but, just ending up doing what he's doing. And then, we sort of catch up with them later, and they're sort of like just wandering the land, the planets. I probably avoiding any Imperial entanglements as best they can, making money off of selling art objects, because apparently he has some sort of history that I'm not entirely sure was fully fledged out, but he just has connections, I guess. Did it ever explain that?
No, I don't think it needed to. I imagine he would just, like, steal shit, and then he was a fucking moose diarrhea salesman, so he could sell a ketchup popsicle to an old lady in white gloves. So
yeah,
it's fucking what he did, pretty much.
And I like when he goes to try to sell a piece, and Clea ends up being the one to clinch the deal, when she's just insistent on a price, and then lying that they have a better offer somewhere else. And it just goes to show that these two are really great working together. And then
Yeah.
the part that kind of broke my heart was when she like sort of looks up, "So I'm your daughter?" And he's like, "When you need to be."
Like
Like,
whatever is convenient. Yeah. That's just like, damn, dude.
can't you
That's
just say
fucking rough.
yes? Like, make her feel good? Like, no, your dad is dead and we killed him. But for now, we'll pretend.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, especially because of the fact that we keep going through moments like this, and then Clea breaking into the fucking hospital to try to go kill him.
Oh, man.
Like, it's so just disheartening.
If it wasn't for the flashbacks and we just watched her going into the hospital, which again, that scene very much reminded me of like Dark Forces, like the old video game, like Doom knockoff. It felt very much like that. But anyway, her going into the hospital and killing him without the backstory, it could have easily been interpreted as she's just covering her bases for the rebellion.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have very much, like, even though we still have the moment of her crying and kissing him on his forehead after she removes the apparatus, like, it wouldn't have hit as hard if we didn't have her as a child worshiping him.
Yeah. And being angry at him and frustrated, and then realizing that he was sort of doing these little baby steps because he didn't want to hurt her or scar her in any way. And I thought that was brilliant, because that's, ironically, he's like, you know, you're my kid when it's convenient to be my kid. And yet he's treating her as if she is his kid, because he's genuinely caring for her. He wants to protect the innocence that she may still yet have by not having her be the one to, you know, ignite the detonator that destroys all those people in that beautiful cafe area that they were watching the checkpoint or whatever it was on the bridge. It's like some weird Italian cafe in space. But she was all frustrated that she wanted it to happen. And he was like, no, because this is the next step. Like, you don't come back from this. You murder people, and you can't pretend that never happened. Like, you're changing yourself and you don't realize it. And I'm trying to protect your innocence. But look, if you want to do it, here's the detonator, you do it. And when she moves to do it, he's like, no.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Even then he couldn't allow her to do it. And I love that. Like, it's so easy to just let people make mistakes, seemingly, until you have some personal connection with them. And then all you want to do is protect them from those mistakes. Like, you don't want them to make them, even though you know that by making them, they will be a more independent, intelligent human for having made those mistakes. You learn from mistakes. But you still want to, like, shield them from it. I think that's why we have so many shit heels in, you know, the last number of generations, however far back you want to go, because we had Dr. Spock saying, no, you need to protect your kids and, you know, hover over them and make sure that they're the most special things on the planet. And that kind of ruined us as a species, I think.
Yeah. Star Trek kind of ruined civilization. I'll just kind of narrow it down to the fall of our
different Spock,
our
but
civilization. No, same Spock.
Oh, okay. My mistake. That's my mistake then. That's funny. So I really love seeing all those moments, and I just watched a sort of civil rights documentary that was, you know, sort of it was set in the era of civil rights, and so I just had this sort of moment of reflection on watching these truly bigoted Southern people and children who are just parroting what their parents are saying and doing, and hating other people simply because they look different. Literally no other reason. And to see parents in our real world instilling hate into their children, and then at the same time we're watching Andor, where it has this little girl who watches this little boy be murdered by the Empire, literally pushed up against a wall and then shot in the face, presumably. And she's like, no, this is wrong. Like, the cognitive dissonance between reality that I just watched and then fiction that I just watched, and yet fiction resonates with me more as a human being, blows my mind. Like, fiction has always been the place to break down those barriers. Always. And we can go back to Star Trek for that. You know, they did a really great job back in the day. The first
Oh yeah,
interracial kiss was on Star Trek.
absolutely.
And so sci-fi has always, and fantasy has always been that medium to break down those social boundaries of reality and hate. But our real world is filled with hate. And so shows like Andor, which are perpetuating that idea, this empire subjugating races that are not human, totally decimating entire cultures simply because they want an element that those cultures happen to exist upon, with Gorman. Seeing this fascist regime enacting their genocides, it just, I don't know. It feels so real, and yet it still gives me hope that we're not entirely lost, because at least shows like this that are shining a spotlight on that absurdity exist. You know,
Yeah,
like it's not totally gone yet. Like we could still not be
yeah,
shit heels. I hope.
yeah. I mean, my fingers are definitely crossed. I won't hold my breath, but I'll keep I'll secretly keep hope in my heart.
Nice. Nice. Well, we need it. So, because we had that context and watching her go disconnect Luthen from the life support, it made it infinitely more painful to watch, infinitely more beautiful to watch. And I just loved it so much, seeing that this guy that has been morally compromised and made choices and pushed people and pushed cultures into a genocide. Like he wanted that to happen. He still has a heart enough to try to protect this little girl and to go against everything that he has ever been assigned or taught or instructed in order to preserve her. And then that is, as far as we know, one of the very beginnings of the rebellion. And it all comes from a position of wanting to save a child. And there's something beautiful in that too.
Right. It's so sad that that's a radical notion.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. I mean, we already talked about the other half of this episode, the last episode, because the preceding one went by so quickly and had such great anxiety and stress. And yet this one did too. Like the whole break-in aspect of Clea getting into the hospital. I had mentioned it was very much like a video game, but it was very stressful. Like I didn't think.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's not bury the lead. Dedra was arrested
Yeah.
for
At
having
the
doing what
very
she
end.
did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so funny because she realizes she's caught and she's like, no, I can talk myself out of this. It's fine. Oh, it was your day off? Well, yeah, I needed to get the shit done. Whatever. Friggin' turd. Yeah. Like, it's just so beautiful seeing all the pieces fall into place and how everybody's collapsing.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, really, really like that the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And Dedra is finally going to get what's coming to her after overseeing the genocide of Gorman, after manipulating that shit-heel boyfriend of hers, after hounding this damn rebellion as effectively as she has, which she did catch Luthen eventually, so, you know, she wasn't totally a failure. But ultimately, even in her victory, she's totally defeated. And I love that.
It's always her ego that fucks her in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just love, especially where we see she's going to be going next. Like, it gets just gold. Like, I wish this was the consequence for shithills in our world.
Right, it'd be so magical. But unfortunately, stuff like that only happens in fantasy.
100%. Yeah. All right. I don't know what else to talk about with this episode.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like that's the thing. Like there's really not a whole lot to this episode, and like one aspect that I really loved, probably my favorite part, since we'll get to that in a second, was the severe lack of dialogue in this.
Oh,
like it was mostly just atmosphere and score and just tension. Like absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and there's some great camera work in this too. After Luthen, it didn't show him killing the dude, but it did show this really great, almost Hitchcock skewed perspective of Luthen going down the stairs in this weird diagonal overhead tilted camera angle that was just bananas to look at. And yet it was just beautiful because he had just done this monstrous thing, helping or killing a guy who has been helping his entire movement and feeding him information. And so all we get a witness is the skewed aftermath of it, which in my opinion, artistically speaks to the skewed reality of what it means to kill that man. Like, you're protecting the movement by removing the guy who gave you all the information you asked him to get at detriment of death. Like, there's something very skewed about that rationale, and then that's what we're seeing in the aftermath. So there's a little bit of artistic play there, I would like to think, anyway. Could be reading too much into it.
No, I guarantee that's what it was. Like, everything about this show is so deliberate. Like, I find it really hard to believe that they were just like, oh, that's a cool angle, let's just do that. Like, there had to have been a lot of subtext with it.
So we've never really seen the amount of Coruscant, and I would argue we've seen more Coruscant in this last 2 episodes than we ever did in episode 2 of the prequel. That was like the whole fly through Coruscant into the lower levels opening sequence. Like, Coruscant is beautiful. It's complex. I just love the layers of this massive city planet, and to see it sort of fleshed out. It's not Art Deco. I don't even know what design style it would be. I did also find myself thinking last episode more than this one, like the clothing is so Star Wars. Like, just the common people walking around. It looks like Star Wars. And it sounds stupid to say that, but it's not like a Western. It's not like a Victorian, 18th century or 16th century. It's its own thing. Like, nothing else looks like it. And to have this world have been crafted with these incredible fashion designers creating these beautiful looks that are wholly connected to this IP, taken out of context would make no sense, and they'd be sort of ridiculous and laughable. But inside of a Star Wars film, they're beautiful and they make total perfect sense. Like, what the fuck? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like every now and then you get that one outfit that's almost like, oh, I could see that in Blade Runner. Not necessarily the movie, but that universe. But yeah, very, very much like it's just the level of detail that they've done with the show is insane, and why they haven't done it with every other fucking series is so frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so what was your favorite part of this particular episode?
So like I said, it was the lack of dialogue. Like, it was just emotionally driven. The score was, of course, just absolute perfection. And just really the severity of what Clea was dealing with in that situation. It built up to be just such a beautiful, beautiful episode.
Yeah. I remember sitting down to watch this going, oh, I hope this isn't the flashback one, because I don't really want to watch the flashbacks again. Like, I already watched them once. I don't need to watch them again. I feel it's a bit superfluous. And then I started watching. I was like, nope, I'm wrong. This is perfect. Like, I'm enjoying watching it again. I don't know why I was complaining about it in my head, but this is great. I'm having a great time. And then when she does finally end Luthen's life, I was just like, that was fucking perfect. You need that backstory. Oh, so that was my favorite part. It was the one part I didn't even want to watch, and it ended up being my favorite part of the whole show. And of course, the reminiscent of Newt, I just felt was nice. She even almost in a kind of weird way looked like Newt to me, but it could have just been me wanting her to look like Newt back in the corner there. In any case, is there anything else you wanted to cover with this episode?
Nope, I think we got it.
All right, well, thank you all so very much for tuning in. What was your favorite part of episode 10, Make It Stop? Let us know in the comments below. Of course, we invite you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell to get notified about our next video. You can support us through memberships at 99 cents a month. And you can also pick up apparel that we've designed in-house that is also Star Wars Infernal Brotherhood oriented. And it also helps us out a little bit, so we thank you for your considerations. So until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, my fellow scruffy-looking Nerf Herders, may the Force be with you.
Sold, but no smile.
That was so great.
It's because she's smart. She understands smiling leads to rudeness.